Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I've just gotten a completely new understanding, alhamdulillah, about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that, we are on our own. And, sorry, our matters are on our own pretty much. Like, it comes back to, I don't, Kismet, fate, there's no such thing as fate. There's no such thing as fate. It's absolutely what you want. God tells you what you need to do. He instructs you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes absolutely by what you want. Like, until your termed period, He goes ahead and He gives you whatever you want. So, for example, if you don't want to be with somebody, and you're projecting that out there that you don't want to be with somebody, and it's in your mind, and it's in your speech, and it's in your actions, guess what? Oh, hold on, I'm yawning like crazy. You won't be with that person just because you don't want that to happen, And, no, I'm not giving you the option of, okay, you want $1 million. That is precisely up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it says verily in Surah chapter 2, and spend from out of what we give you. So, that department is entirely, His. He's expert, he's wise, and he'll go ahead and determine how much wealth he's going to give you, and he'll go ahead and determine how much life he's going to give you, because time is really the essence of wealth. That's the true wealth right there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you time. That's the greatest wealth, and truly that's probably the only true wealth that there is out there. But and then the wealth of wisdom and stuff like that of that sort. Now, oh my god, I'm yawning like crazy. So with that being said, as we continue forth, we have to understand something. When Sarah was married to Ibrahim alayhi salam, she wanted, him to have Ibrahim alayhi salam to have a comforter. And it could have been that the course of history could have been changed. And it's that she wanted him to have a comforter. There was no instruction given to Ibrahim alayhi salam to take on to Hajar as the handmaiden to bear the comforter, and thus through that, he would have a child. But had she waited, that would have inevitably occurred too, and she would have had a child, because it came to pass that, she did. There was no sound instruction given that was supposed to be the course of events that was to occur. Because the promised fruit still had to come through Sarah, with the lineage through Dawood and Yaqub, and that was Isaac. And of course, whatever had occurred, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already knows that these things were going to inevitably happen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still gave Ishmael a great nation to proceed it forth from Ibrahim alayhi salam, so that the fruits of the seed of Ibrahim alayhi salam, many to come through him, would have been pure, and the pure fruits and seeds would come through him, through his children, through his seeds, Ishmael and Ishaq. Now, oh my God. With that being said, here's some interesting things that I'm looking at. I'm looking at some very interesting circumstance that I'm going through, where people will base their instruction based on other people's teachings other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. Excuse me. Astaghfirullah. In the Quran, it says that a couple or oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm yawning like crazy. A husband and the wife, when they're together, is per the Quran, they're allowed to be married twice. So let's just say if they're together once, they're married, and then something happens, and then, separation occurs, and then divorce proceeds from that, because when you're not together for 3 months, technically, right, unless it's not announced, it is, I guess, understood as divorce. And then after that, if the announcement is made as to be talaq, and there's that, then that's happened for the first time around. And then again, if they return to you for the first time around, and the second time, you're allowed to get married again. And after marriage occurs, now if that proceeds with the breaking of the covenant and the divorce occurs at that point, then they are not allowed to be together until the woman gets married again. That's after the second time, okay, in the Quran. So if you mess up once, you have chances for reconciliation the second time. And then the third time around, you're not allowed to be back with that woman until you, God forbid if that that occurs. Then the third time around, it's something which is going to be heavy upon both parties, where she has to be married to somebody else. And then after that, if something happens to the husband, or if they fall out, and then he wants to go ahead and be with her too, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ever understanding of the conditions of the hearts. And then at that point, the husband and wife, or the ones had been husband and wife, are allowed to be back together. Oh my God. Wow. Now, with that being said, I'm glad that this thing happened, because it's just a topic of conversation to bring up. As for the hadiths, there's many a different story as to what you can and cannot do, but I've heard someone today which completely upset me over the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that no, I follow the hadith, and I'm like, wait, this is in the Quran, so really tell me this. Is the hadith, the word in the hadiths, which are from this source, that source, just tell me one thing. Would it be above the word that's in the Quran? So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already made it clear to you, that you're allowed to go ahead and come back together, reconcile with each other after the first time of divorce occurring, the second time you're allowed to come back together, then would a hadith which says that once you're already divorced the first time, you're not allowed to marry the second time again, would that hadith compare to the word of Allah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already made it clear for you that you're allowed to go back together for the first 2 times? I don't understand. I really don't understand. I'm so confused. Because here I am in a standing point where I'm like, have people really gone so far away from the Quran that the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no stance compared to astaghfirullah, any other word that's out there, or any other scholar, or any other understanding that's out there, or any other person telling you things? I mean, this is saddening because, if you're going to call that fate, then you just chose your fate with you not choosing to understand that this is not the true instruction from God. And the true instruction from God is completely incomparable to the things that you're taking from everywhere else. And this is for everyone that's out there. Sound mind and instruction are all in the words of God, in His scriptures, in His Quran. Okay, at this very moment, in His Quran. Clear, absolutely profound, absolutely, it's everything that you need. The sound instructions are in there. And, what's really interesting, astaghfirullah, is that a person who is going through divorce, okay, I mean, you cannot call it qismat. You cannot call it qismat if you're not, if you're thinking of your own accord and you are instructing instead of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructing, and instead of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala putting the pieces of the puzzle together for you, With that being said, we make our lives difficult without having to take instruction from Him, With that being said, we need to stop thinking of our own accord, and we need to start turning to Him more for instruction. Without His instruction, we're going to be a mess. Trust me, we are a mess without His instruction. And, with that being said, I just had an individual that thought I was a nice girl, a very nice girl, and wanted me to go ahead and proceed at some point to even go ahead and marry them off with their ex. And I was like, what the heck? Like, this is absolutely insane. Like, it just really hit me the head so much that, okay, it threw me off. And I guess this is my place to vent. Like, I haven't even had my divorce come in finalized and stuff like that, astaghfirullah, and I wish that would never be the case, but unfortunately my circumstances are very, very different, with that being said. And it's just, I just had someone tell me, that how how difficult is it for me to understand that person thinks I'm so nice, so awesome that, that they would refer me to be in the position or place for me to get married to their ex. Like, that's really something, that's really, really something. And it just threw me off, and I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy, this is insane. Of course, that's not the way that I would ever lead, astaghfirullah. And it's just sad, like, we don't take instruction from God. We think of our own accord, and that's where we mess up. And, the book clarifies everything. The books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarify everything. Absolutely everything that you need is in His books. I wish people would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's kalam more. Book of Ezra, I've been reading it, and it's very profound too, because you'll see so much of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's word in the Quran, in the Book of Ezra. It's absolutely beautiful. It's very interesting because I was inspired to go ahead and read the Book of Ezra, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, and the Jews took they took Ezra as the son of yada yada. Obviously, just like they took Isa al-Islam as the son of blank. And I thought that was very interesting, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't mention anything that's not out of proportion. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even mentioned Ezra in the book of the Quran, that must mean that there's something in the things that he may have left back which would give us more knowledge. The Quran is complete, it's explained fully in detail, but the beauty of it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to look back into the scriptures. He's already mentioned the names of the scriptures that we're allowed to go back into, but the beauty of it is in chapter 6, he also mentions that other prophets were also given other scriptures as well. So as I was studying the book of Ezra, it was absolutely breathtaking to see that there was extended knowledge which is absolutely similarly co-enjoined with the Quran. And I thought, wow, I was like, this is absolutely amazing. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went and mentioned Ezra and a lot of the teachings that are there way before the Quran, the perfected word in the Final Testament had come to pass onto us, that similar knowledge was also in the writings of the book that Ezra had left behind. You know, it's just the profound knowledge that's out there. It's amazing. It's amazing at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will lead you to for you to understand his word. So with that being said, I'll just leave it off at that. And I just, you know, follow instruction from Allah. Pay attention to the Quran. Think from your mind, as in your logic and understanding. Stop thinking from your hearts, because your hearts are blind. Your hearts will lead you to animosity, to like things that you're going to choose to do which are not in the way of Allah, not in the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will lead you to madness. How about that? So stop following your hearts. Start thinking with a sound mind and instruction is in the Quran for you. So I hope that's clear enough of the instructions that I'm leaving you with to turn back to the Quran and to read. So that's about it. Assalamu alaikum. Have a beautiful day.